Okay, welcome to the addendum to working with sequences. So if you're watching these in order, you just watched how we did the color grading on this. If not, you might want to go back and review it because then this addendum will make a little bit more sense. But you remember how we took this pre-comped, we pre-comped all of the files that we were going to grade one way, and then we did a tech grade on these four brown clips and did some power windowing and such to get them to look the way we wanted. And then of course we laid these sets of gears, the Cinegamma, the Spectral Enhancer, the TM Greener, and the Vignette over the top to get this wonderful looking image here. Well, so these two compositions are in the downloadable project that is linked up above this tutorial, in the previous tutorial I should say. So what we're going to do is I just have this open so that you can see that this project and this project are essentially the same. The only difference is I've changed the colors of these layers. So I'm going to close these to get them out of the way so that they don't confuse us. So now if you recall, this project is nested inside this one inside here. So if you look and see Blade Runner Standard, Blade Runner Standard, Blade Runner Standard, if we double click it, it opens up all of these clips here. So in Final Cut Pro, what you can do is you can do something called copy and paste attributes, in which you copy the filters and attributes of one layer and paste them onto one other layer or multiple other layers. And that allows you to color correct one layer the way you want it and then say, hey, I really like this look. I'd like to apply it to, you know, these other 4 or 5 clips or 6 or 7 clips, or if they're shot in different locations, then you want to apply it to those different locations individually. And what you don't want to have to do is you don't want to have to come in and grade them separately here in After Effects and then take them back in and then cut them back into your sequence, because that's going to kill your time flow. But what you can do is you can nest these into separate compositions. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So what I've done is I've decided that all of these blue ones will work fine in the green set that we've created over here. These 3 clips I think will look good in a red set that we're going to create, and these other 2 will look cool in this kind of desaturated set that we're going to create. So what I want to do is I want to select all the red clips, and the way that you change the color of a layer is you just click this button over here and you select one of these colors. So I'm going to select all the red layers by command clicking or control clicking if you're on a PC, and hit Command Shift C or Control Shift C if you're on a PC to pre-compose them. You can see the pre-comp, and we'll call that pre-comp red, and click OK. And then we'll change the color of that to red so that we know what it is. Same thing with the brown ones. Are going to select both of those. Oops, I totally screwed up. Click there, command click, and hit Command Shift C to pre-compose. And we will call this this is kind of a dense, I think this was actually a dense night look that I created for this, and we'll click OK. So we got red, we got dense night. Let's turn the dense night brown so we remember that that's all of our brown labeled clips. And then we're going to go back. If you recall, this layer here is our pre-comp containing all of these layers. So I want to take all of these layers that we've already done our tech pass on separately, and these layers up here, and put them back into this pre-comp, and you'll see why in a second. So the thing to remember is when you select layers, if you want them to be pasted in order, you have to select them top to bottom. So I selected the top one and then shift click the bottom one to select those. If you select them out of order, or if you select bottom to top, they will paste bottom to top completely backwards from your original order, which sometimes you want that, sometimes you don't. Most of the times you don't. So make sure that you select top to bottom. And then I'm going to hit Command X to cut them. Go into the pre-comp, just so you're not totally confused, the pre-comp is just this, is all of our nested comps down in here. And I'm going to select this layer here, and I should be able to Command V or Control V if you're on a PC, paste them in, and they come in underneath all of these other layers. Okay, so this Tokyo Storm layer is going to come down here, and then since I want all of these layers, even the ones that have been adjusted, in other words, had a tech pass adjustment done to them, and all these other layers, I'm going to put them all in their own pre-composition. So I'm going to select even the gears and all of the layers except the audio, and I know that these two bottom ones are audio because they don't have any video on them. So shift click, hit Command Shift C to pre-compose, and we will call this greenish. And now we have 3 pre-comped layers now inside our composition. So it's already green, so I don't have to worry about labeling it. So let's go into the red pre-comp by pre-clicking it. You can see here's our red layers isolated by themselves. And now I can apply any sort of gear adjustment or grading that I want. I'm going to do something very simple. I'm going to hit Option Command Y to create an adjustment layer. Always label your adjustment layers. This is going to be Tone Monsters Red. And I'm just going to go in here to my Tone Monsters and grab the 3-way red, because I know that everyone, even the people who don't have color finesse, have this one. Drag it down onto the adjustment layer, and you'll see that that does some really cool things to that footage. I really like it. Just that alone. I'm not going to mix it at all. It's a little bright, but I like it. And then I'm going to go back to my previous composition. I'm going to open up the brown layer. See now all the brown, just the brown layers are in here. Again, I'm going to create 2 adjustment layers this time by hitting Option Command Y twice. This one is going to be Dense Night. Always label. And this one is going to be a Spectral Enhancer. So let's grab Dense Night, which is here, and a Spectral Enhancer here. And if you just want to see what that's doing, here, let's isolate this so it's soloed, and you can see this is the clip by itself, the raw clip that Andrew Reed shot, and with Dense Night applied, it gives it, I think, a little bit of a more cinematic, almost like a film kind of look. And then the Spectral Enhancer is just going to bring that color back out. Give us a nice, yeah, that's really nice. Okay, so I did that for only 2 clips, that clip and this clip here. So this one, which soloed, would look like that. And I gave it a little darker, little meatier look. So I like it on these 2. I could add more clips to this if I wanted. If I wanted to go back in here to the greenish layer where all the other clips are and select any of these, it would not adjust their timing whatsoever. So what I could do is I could say I could select that and, you know, Command click, you know, these and select all those, and then all I'd have to do is just cut and paste. In this case, it would actually be a cut and paste, not a copy and paste, because otherwise you'll have duplicates. But you would hit Command X or Control X, cut them out of this sequence, go into this sequence where you want to apply this look to those clips, paste them in, and then you would have them. So if I go back to the main, either one of the mains, I have 2 mains now. I could render out of this if I wanted to, but Tokyo Storm's got the main name, so I would probably render out of this. But now they all have different color settings applied to them. So the green ones all have green, the reds are all red, you know, and our Dense Night clips have a Dense Night adjustment on them. So that's basically it. Let's say you wanted to, let's say you really like this look and you want to apply it to another clip. We go into the greenish. Let's say maybe this clip. Maybe this clip would look good with that look. So we could do Command X. There, it's disappeared. Go over here and add it. Drag it down below. And see how it looks. All red. Maybe we don't like that. Maybe that's like, maybe that's a little too red. Let's hit Command X or Control X on a PC. And let's move it over to this one. And you see it's pasted in its proper place, timeline-wise. And maybe you like that, or maybe you don't. But anyway, so that's how you can create different pre-comps inside of your comp with different color adjustments. And then, so that way, so now what you have is all these layers here are affected by the adjustment layers or gears above them. Same thing in this pre-comp, and same thing in this pre-comp. And then all three of these pre-comps are contained in this comp. Red, dense night, and greenish. Red, dense night, and greenish are all contained within here. Nothing changed in the edit, nothing changed in the timeline. All I did was essentially a sort of backdoor version of creating the sort of copy and paste attributes. And of course you can do everything. You can do a tech pass to those underneath of those adjustment layers, and then you just render out. You can render out here or here, either way, and you're good to go. So that's it for working with Sequences 2. I do want to show you really quick. I've been getting some questions on the forum about rendering. You want to go into here for your preferences. Set this as low as you think you can possibly get away with without your system crashing. A gig and a half maybe is probably a good spot. Make sure that this checkbox for After Effects multiprocessing is checked. Make sure that the maximum number of CPUs in your system is showing and that's recognizing them, and make sure that all of your CPUs are being used. Don't reserve any for other applications while you're rendering. This will speed up your rendering times. And then set this as low as you can get it. I think it's 0.75 is as low as it'll go, and that should speed up your rendering times. Also, neat video will slow your machine down extremely. It will really slow down your machine. The grain killer will slow your machine down a little bit, not as much as neat video, and film grain. So if you're applying any of those two gears or neat video, expect your render times to be massive. But if you want to do a comparison, your render times on a comparable machine with comparable color correction in DaVinci Resolve or SpeedGrade are going to be about the same as they are in After Effects. They all work about the same. The only difference is After Effects doesn't cost $20,000 like SpeedGrade, and you don't have to buy a really expensive machine to run After Effects like you do with DaVinci Resolve in most cases. Anyway, until next time, happy grading, and I gave you a little bit of a sneak preview of the EV test that I did, and so that is the next tutorial that I'm going to record. So that'll probably be the next one that pops up on the site.